Well, the good news is I'm alive. Unfortunately, something pretty serious came up, and I need to tell you a little story for some context so you can see exactly what went on. Yesterday, I was getting ready to fly. I had just put 4 GoPro mounts all over the airplane. I was getting ready to try out these new GoPro 360s in lots of different views. I had pre-flighted the aircraft. I had done a walk around. I was setting up the cameras, and I'd gone over an aerobatics plan. I was going to go up and do some spins and some other things to kind of make some nice content and look at it from different angles. But I started having this weird feeling that just something wasn't right, and I couldn't put my finger on it. It was just sort of this anxiety. For some reason, I was a little worried about going up and flying. I looked at the weather, and it was fine. There were some storms off to the south, but it wasn't a big deal. I actually went and talked to the skydiving guys. They were about to fly, and I said, "What do you think about the weather?" And they said, "It's fine. Go fly. Have a good time." Okay. And came back and still couldn't shake that feeling. I called my wife. I said, "Hey, look, I'm just not feeling right. I'm not in the right headspace. Something's wrong. I'm just not going to fly." So she said, "That's fine, honey. Live to fly another day. Come on home. I love you." So I went. Well, I came back a little later on the day and decided to clean the belly of my airplane. The reason I did that was I just put a GoPro mount on the belly. I noticed there was a bunch of oil under there. So I'm laying on my back, cleaning the belly, and as I get towards the tail, I notice something. So as I'm getting towards the back side of the airplane and I'm scrubbing the bottom, I noticed that there was a little bit of a gap right here. Now, when the plane was actually not jacked up, when it was sitting on the ground, that gap was quite a bit smaller than it is right now, but something just didn't look right. So I jacked the plane up, and then I started moving things around. And holy shit. So as you can see, I was about 3 rivets away from losing my rudder, which is awesome. I was planning on going up and doing spins, flying a tail wheel. All of these situations would have been catastrophic. Now, what's just terrifying about this is that when the plane is sitting on the ground with the wheel on the ground there and you move the rudder, not much really happens. The little control arm doesn't cause anything. Your cables are tight. Nothing really gaps open very much. So this probably wouldn't have been found on any routine pre-flight. So I know a lot of you guys are pilots and you know exactly what the significance of this is. For those of you who are not, if you're thinking about becoming pilots or you're just watching for entertainment, if you lose your rudder in a tailwheel airplane, there's virtually no safe way to land. The very best thing you can hope for is a ground loop where you crash your airplane and maybe you walk away, maybe you don't. More frightening than that is the fact that I was going up to do aerobatic maneuvers, including spins, and you cannot recover from a spin without a rudder. If I were to lose my rudder at any point during a spin, which is probably pretty likely, I would have had to make a split-second decision and either jump out of the airplane or go down in flames. So that's all pretty frightening, and I'm not sure why exactly I decided not to fly, but thank God. And trying to understand how something like this would happen, you kind of look at the mechanism of failure, and those rivets look like they've been pulled straight out, which is kind of bizarre. Normally, if you had a hard landing, which I haven't, you would expect compression. Something would be bent. You could expect shearing of the rivets. These are pulled straight out. Also, this plane just came out of its annual conditional inspection 2 weeks ago. I flew this home 2 weeks ago, and then last week I flew another couple laps around the pattern. Now, during the time that I've owned this airplane, it's never had a really hard landing. Nothing I've ever done would put excess stress on the rotor, so I don't know how this happened. I don't know how long it's been there. Have I been flying around with a totally unsafe plane for a long time? I just don't know. It had a pre-purchase inspection. It's had 2 conditionals since I've gotten it, and I don't know when this happened. Now, one of the things I thought about was the NTSB reporting. So the NTSB reporting is required if you have an aircraft incident, including a flight control malfunction or failure. That is normally for aircraft that are in flight. However, this aircraft has been in flight, and it's very likely that this was present when it was in flight. So I did call the NTSB. They weren't sure, based on the unique circumstances, whether or not they were going to do anything with it, but they said that they would pass my information on to one of the officers. Major questions that I have from this whole incident. Number one, is this something that has happened before? Does Sonex know of any other planes that have had this problem? So I did send an email to Sonex. I sent some pictures. Hopefully, if they've seen this before, this can be something we can discuss and address, but I don't know that that's the case. The other thing I'm concerned about is, was this aircraft assembled correctly? So are the rivets the correct size and length and material? I did go ahead and buy the new ones according to specs. I'm going to have to buy one of the outboard ribs. So we'll look at all that stuff and compare it and see if it looks like it's supposed to. The other thing is that this aircraft just came out of an inspection, and was this something that should have been picked up? So hopefully we'll get some of those questions answered. my wife was right. I will have lived to fly another day, but I just want to stress the importance of really looking over your airplanes. Guys, if you're buying a home built, just an inspection is not enough. You need to really look over every critical structure and make sure that there is not a hiding failure that's going to get you, because this was a hard one to spot, but it's not hard to imagine this could have ended in a fatality. So whether by fate or luck or divine intervention, yesterday did not end in a disaster. So look forward to some more videos where I take the tail off and get it repaired and get this thing back flying, hopefully a little more safely next time. Everybody be safe.